the most fun aspects of working with Carl and Ethan Peverall is to see their new work, because every year I'm surprised by how playful you can make a stone and mixed media sculpture like this. Would you call this concrete or an aggregate mix?
Yeah, exactly. It's basically, we're using the idea of cast concrete with an exaggerated aggregate.
I absolutely love it. And what was the genesis of this fabulous oval that, frankly, I think looks a little bit like a sprinkled donut? I love it.
Delicious is what you mean, right?
Yes,
that I have to agree with you there. And you're not the first person to say that. And what's wrong with that? It's nutritious and delicious. It's also rather chaotic and maybe even somewhat primally violent in some way too, because the name of the piece is Metamorphus. And one thing that you working with the stones that we do in western North Carolina, so many of them are metamorphic stones. And what is metamorphic? That's something, it means sort of something that has gone through a drastic change. And in the stones, it's a geologic change over many, many millions of years. And where one form will come into some sort of upheaval, get shifted, get cracked, get pressurized, go through a change, and then it begins to combine with another completely different kind of material, and they both start to mix together in these high pressure molten forms. And they come up with, the names of some of these stones are 3 miles long, because you've got so many different types of geological events that have taken place to form a single stone. So working with that all the time sort of makes you start to sort of feel that energy as well. And I sort of feel like when we work, we're doing a very, very similar kind of a thing, where we are taking all these different stones, we're combining them in different ways than perhaps nature would ever have done, and we're creating all this stuff that like is a result of our work, our own weathering of nature is what we're doing with our diamond drill and our chisels and that sort of thing. So we're accumulating all the time. We're sort of, this is the detritus of our activity and all this stuff. So the idea of actually that work is actually preparing for the next type of change that can create a new form of recombining all of this stuff. That's sort of where this comes from. The title is Metamorphus, and it's a way that we can make a statement about that geological phenomena, and it's also a way that we can kind of get in that dance with nature of creating from all of this change that we have brought into being and put it into an artistic form. So basically the technique here was, and also I must say, a lot of people ask, well, where do your ideas come from? And most of them come very slowly, piece by piece, out of the corner of the eye. But sometimes there's something that comes through that is just blazing clear. And this was one of those things, is the idea of doing this cast concrete piece to gather up all the fragments that we've been working with. You may find pieces in here to every sculpture actually that's in the yard.
I love that.
And
but kind of like a lending library, all in a volume.
Yeah, yeah. These sculptures have given many donations to this piece, and so this idea was like, it was really radical. I mean, it's not a new idea to work with an aggregate sculptural technique, but it was really radical for us to actually include that in the way we work. Because we mostly up to this point had used concrete only in a utilitarian way, and it's hardly ever visible at all through bases and foundations. But in this piece, it was going to now be a sculpture, the sculpture itself, the primary foundation of the sculpture itself. So it was one of these sleepless nights that this idea came, and I didn't really want to just actually do it right away because it was so different. I thought I'd let it age a while and see how it endured, you know, in my creative mind. And nothing else was going to come. I could tell that until I did this. It's like this had to get done. It had to get out of the way for the flow to resume again. This was like a blockage to go ahead and create this piece. And that night, where the idea came, we wouldn't be able to see it now. I only have it on my cell phone, but I made a drawing of this piece and then kind of put it away. And Ethan and I wanted to bring the drawing out tonight to show people an example of something that just came all at once, and not an accumulative idea. And Ethan and I hadn't looked at the drawing in months, and we looked at the drawing, and it was unbelievable how similar the drawing was to this actual piece. We didn't look at the drawing when we were placing all these stones and concrete, but there was.
But the rhythm was
the
there,
rhythm
the
and the parts, the whole
wow.
thing, the proportion, the shape, everything. It looked as if I had tried to draw this after it was made.
Goodness, even right down. I always think of these as eggs down at
That
the
was
base
drawn
of
in,
this.
and so
Cool.
this was one of those things where we had this idea, this scale in mind, and we had to go out and find the base that resembled that.
Because it has that texture.
Right. That's a big chunk of granite there. So yeah, that's it, Metamorphus. And you know, here's a core. This is a stone that we found last summer in Santa Cruz on the beach. Brought back on the airplane. Here's another one of those Arizona river stones. Some quartz from our river. Some seashells, North Carolina coast. Just everything.
It's almost a travelogue.
That's
it's
right,
like
exactly.
Almost like a web of life representation of the materials used in all of your sculptures put together that coexists in a beautiful image.
Well, I think that you're touching on something there that I really was hesitant to bring up, because it's something that's incomprehensible to me, and it's a theory, but there are a lot of scientists that believe that the universe, this vast thing that we cannot perceive a beginning or end to really in our conceptual minds, there are a number of scientists that believe that the universe actually has some kind of a shape, an overall shape and a form. Of course, the spiral is the most ubiquitous form of motion within the universe that we know of. But some say that there's an actual shape to the whole of it all, and they say it is a torus shape, T-O-R-U-S. And that's what this basically is a torus shape. It's an ovoid.
Sort of a flattened ovoid.
It's like a ring, a little bit of an elongated, usually, ring, where there is this constant flow of positive and negative, and in and an out. And that, because of that image, is why we actually shaped it this way, or why it came through that way.
It's just amazing. And I also like the way that there are these voids where a tooth was knocked out, or maybe the tooth has been born into that niche shed.
Yeah, pulled out.
Yeah. And thank you so much, Carl. This is really, I've seen so many pieces of your work over the past 5 years.
Yes.
And to see this it's made my heart feel really good, because I felt like there are friends, all these little travelogue bits from the ones I've seen in the past are put together in a unique new way. And thank you so much.
Thank you so very much for having us.